easy street, then you get kicked in the fucking face.
In the next bubble screen over here, let's throw curls.
What are the whys, right? What are the whys?
Bears Hour Live.
32 is the identity.
Yeah, you look at the tape. So as a coach, your resume is the tape.
Loses the football. Strip sack and
Bears Hour Live.
Give me some fucking
Bears
names.
Hour Live. We go online right after Bears games with your boys draft thoughts in the smartest man alive. Yo, Bears Hour Live.
Son of a bitch, you better block.
Bears Hour Live. We go online right after Bears games with your boys draft talk and the smartest man alive. Ran up with the true analysis you expect. Raw passion for the show.
You
Bears
saw
fans
the
get
growth in
locked
Justin
in with real
Fields.
emotion and passion for every play. Coach Phil to bring that range, but then with facts like shame. Post game show like nothing else you're gonna hear. Some can try to copy, but a bucket's not sincere. Delivering the truth on what just happened to be clear. That's why we're on TV so you can see it, not just hear. Hey yo, with Draft Dr. Phil, you know it's always hit sticks. True to fundamentals, never gimmicks and tricks. Guess we're moving Soldier Field up to Arlington Heights. Mill out Cotton Bucks while the mayor pick fights. Our life keeps growing, Shane's all knowing. Delivering the truth on how the QB's throwing. Dimes on time, just lacking fundamental. Whatever the case, we get hot like Cecil. Fiery discussion on what happened in the game. This ain't your daddy's postgame show, expect the fucking flame. Not for the average fan, I love they can survive.
But don't you worry.
Bears Hour Live.
Bears Hour Live. Bears Hour Live. We go
Let him sit his ass there again. I don't think we're that much worse.
the myth, the red legend, Dr. Phil Otoshun.
This is football, baby. Culture is the problem. Let's get on little things. Bears Hour Live. Bears Hour
Son of a bitch, you better
Bears
block.
Hour Live.
That's what happens. That's when you have a real
Right
good team.
after Bears
And let's
games
get it
with
on.
your boys draft talk and the smartest.
Give me some fucking names.
This is Bears Hour Live.
Hey, as I'm muting my TV and everything else that's going off down here. Bears take one on the chin, 49-29 losers in Big D today. Don't want to. I'm getting way too much feedback here. Hold on. Bear with me. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. 49-29. Obviously, a ton of negatives to take out of this, but I don't want to dwell on that here because I think that there's more at play what came out of today's game. As bad as overall that it looked, I think still we have a QB1, and I know there's people that want to dismiss that. I think we saw growth with the offense. The offensive line still shaky, too much pressure on Justin. Justin missed some throws today, but you're going to have that. I didn't expect the defense to come out and be totally run over like they were today. Roquan Smith holding you accountable. I understand the Bears defensive line isn't the best in the league, but when there's plays there to be made in the backfield and you're not making them and you're giving up a 50-yard touchdown, you want $20 million? Ain't going to be here if you're not making those plays. Roquan, no way. No possible way. Can't. It's up and down, and I don't want to hear about leading the league in tackles. And that's a lot of time when you go to the official tackles, the NFL can have you at 6 and the Chicago Bears will have you at 12. That's the way that works. But Roquan needs to step up his game. I still maintain he's got to get in better shape. His run fits aren't even pedestrian. They're pathetic at this point. And if you have access to the All-22, go watch it. And exactly what I'm saying is verified. But looking at the offense, turning point to me, the Bears made their run there. David Montgomery, you just cannot fumble that football. Can't do it. Can't happen. No way, no how. And I know people and media are trying to shift blame to Justin Fields for not touching Micah Parsons down. It's simple. Don't even get in that position. You're not in that position if you hold on to the football. So that was a tough one for Monty. Monty didn't have his best game as a pro at all today. Saw him whiffing on a couple of blocks out there, and that's tough to see because he's usually Mr. Reliable. Khalil Herbert initially, called for the fumble, but that got overturned, and he did break off some big plays. But overall, as bad as this ass kicking stings, I think that there is some positives to take out of this, especially on offense, especially concerning Justin Fields. So I'm going to bring in my guy, Ivan Vargas here. We got a little different look today to BHL. Ivan with Phil in Big D watching the game. He did just text me, and he's going to try to jump on. So I don't know what direction he's going to take this, but I'm sure it's completely different than mine was. But I do think, end of the day, Ivan, and if you want to disagree with me, please do so. But I think that there was some positives to take out of the offensive side of the play today.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Justin Fields is that dude. I just give him some time, give this offense some more playmakers come next year, and you're going to start to see just more electrifying plays from QB1. But, on defense, Shane, I can't – it was just nauseating.
Yeah, they still can't set the edge. And I brought up Roquan. It just 3 tackles or whatever he ended up with today, Ivan. And listen, I believe in Roquan Smith, the player. He's got all the talent in the world. Today's showing by him was pathetic. I mean, there's players on the defensive line that aren't even going to be here next year. I understand that. But when you're in the backfield to make a play, when you want to say that you're the best linebacker in the NFL, that's when you make those plays.
There's too many times he's one-on-one in the hole or with whether it be a quarterback or a running back, it doesn't matter. He got ran over by Tony Pollard today. Yep. Tony Pollard did whatever he wanted to on that football field today. That's one thing. Right. But with Roquan, he had plenty of times where he could have made the play and he doesn't do it. He either gets beat, steamrolled, or just flat out outrun. Absolutely. And it's hard to watch. I don't want to keep making excuses for him. You got to be, if you want to be a $20 million guy, make the fucking play.
Yeah, and let me got a guy here sitting in the background.
There we are, boys.
You hear us, Phil?
Yeah.
Hear us?
Okay.
You
hear me?
Yeah, it's good. Phil, we were talking a little bit about we were taking a little bit different approach. We think that there was some steps on offense overall, especially with Justin Fields. The defense was abysmal. Roquan Smith, I think, led that charge with the way that he played today. But overall, the overall turning point was, unfortunately, David Montgomery can't fumble that football. I know Justin has the chance to touch him down, but don't even get in that position. That was a tough one. And then, he scores off of that. Plays out there to be made. The Dante Pettis, I don't think, is going to be here next year. There's nothing there with him that I think is worth bringing into 2023 moving forward. But I'm talking a little bit too much, man. So give me the DDP thoughts.
Yeah, huge turnover there. Justin's got to be aware to tag him down. It's part of the game. I mean, David doesn't fumble much. I'm not making excuses up, but you got to hold on to the ball. Justin, this is in college. Huge change of events. Something you got to learn from. The play calling there at that last drive when you're in the red zone, I don't get it. Straight drop back. Start throwing it down the field. You don't do it. You can't have the drops. St. Brown and Pettis, and then Baelish Jones drop. I felt like that was just a whole momentum killer. That your offense is looking for big plays, and they couldn't get the consistency there in the big plays. The reality is, Shane, it's disappointment. The 2 holding calls. Terrible. I mean, the one on Cole Kmet on Justin's run was ticky-tack. And then you come back and you see Braxton Jones. I mean, I don't see a hold there. I was watching it live on David Montgomery's run. Those things changed the course of the game. And if you're going to call it like that, I'm not making excuses. Pollard's big run, you see Brisker get tackled. The same with the Mike linebacker. So, again, you need some playmakers here for Justin Fields. The guy's got to step up. And I heard what you guys were saying. Roquan's got to make tackles when he's in the position to make them. A lot of guys need to
three
step
tackles
up
today, Phil. It's just you can't. He's got to have that per quarter.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, they got to do it. You're 100% right. Then you have, the momentum. They're throwing three-step game, and Dak Prescott was throwing dimes out there on slant routes, taking advantage of the soft coverage. Vildor, seconds late, third down situation. The tight end Schultz. That was third and like 16. And Dak hits him. And you got to get depth as a linebacker playing that cover too. Roquan didn't get deep. Listen, there's so many plays in this game. But listen, you need playmakers. Got to have playmakers. The turnovers are going to kill you when you're grinding for every inch. You got to be almost perfect. Today, the Dallas Cowboys really outplayed you. I honestly will say the final score doesn't reflect I felt like they were still in the game. That's what I was so disappointed in Getsy's play calling down in the red zone there. I didn't get what he was doing. They're not going to be fooled by the gimmickry. But anyway, I got to go, Shane. They're calling me. We'll talk. Love you guys right here in Dallas. Disappointed in Dallas. That's how I'll leave you.
And props on Phil for being taller than Tony Medlin. So that was a huge development for this.
I was shocked when he wasn't taller than Cap.
Yeah. Cap looked like Luke Longley compared to Phil. But yeah, I mean, Ivan, this one was tough. I wasn't expecting this type of effort defensively after last week. And I mean, I don't want to dismiss and pretend like Dallas doesn't have a ton of talent out there. They do, but I just wasn't expecting, to give up almost 50 to Dallas today. And there's obviously a lack of talent on both sides of the ball, but the Bears do have more talent defensively, and it just didn't show through today.
Something went wrong. I don't know what it was, whether they were riding a high from the last game or, they're working on a short week. But I'm not going to sit here and give you excuses. It's just you can't continue, similar to the Minnesota game. You can't give these guys a spot 21 points to start the game and expect to make adjustments and come back. This is obviously a rebuilding year, and we're going to run into some of these games. You know what I'm saying? Games where the Bears are impressive and games where the Bears lay an egg. I thought the Bears, like Phil said, I thought the Bears were in it. 5 points off. You had some momentum going coming into the second half. And then your defense, again, just couldn't stop a cold. You couldn't do anything up front. You were getting manhandled. Like I said, Tony Pollard did whatever he wanted. Hell, Dak Prescott was just pitch and catch for about 30 minutes in that game.
Yeah.
Whoever he wanted. So Alan Williams and Matt Eberflus need to go ahead and figure out what the problem is with that defense, because if the offense, I mean, we both like how the offense showed out today. You scored 29 points. You almost, you were in a game, but you scored 29 points and got blown out by 3 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah. If I would have told you last Wednesday night, Ivan, that we were going to put up 29 points and have over 200 rushing yards, you would have said, "Holy shit, we win."
Yeah. No, I would have. I totally would have.
Yeah, we lost by 3 touchdowns, and that's the NFL. That's the way that it goes, unfortunately. And it's one of those weird games. Like I said, I know I keep on repeating myself. I think that there is a lot of things to be excited about moving forward, and I get DMs from people. Justin Fields will make a ill-advised pass, or he gets sacked, and they're fuck this guy. I don't understand it. If you want to question Justin Fields' toughness, where he is in his development with the talent that he is surrounded with, and you want to think that he is not the guy, I think you have bigger fucking issues to figure out if you want to blast this kid. Because to me, Ivan, today, he just re-solidified my thinking of exactly what and who he is in Chicago as a mainstay at quarterback. And I know Dan Weeder and Brad Biggs and all those guys were like, oh, Flus is folding the tents up with 3 minutes left. I texted Ryan Cox and Cars. At the time, there I don't know 3 minutes and whatever was left. I'm like, I'm not putting Justin back out there. I always go back, and I know it's a different sport and different set of events, but the Bulls are up by 12 or 13, and Tibbs still has Derrick Rose out there, and Ivan. It's where it's similar. He goes out there and shreds his knee. It's franchise altering for your future. I
absolutely agree.
I think Eberflus and the coaches 100% made the right decision. Is there a chance? Sure, minuscule at best. Not enough to make me want to put Justin Fields' future in doubt. Put Simeon out there, let him finish out the game. I'm totally fine with that. It's a weird place to hang your hat on that stance. It looks to me like you're reaching for something to bitch about, and hey, they got their fucking faces punched.
Shane,
defense.
They were up 3 touchdowns. They were go. The pass rush was coming after Justin's ass. There's no need to take an unnecessary hit, and like you said, as soon as you said that, like my heart started to break all over again with Derrick Rose. But unnecessary. I was cool with Simeon coming in. I would have had Simeon in 7 minutes out. 7 minutes out, I would have had Simeon in. Just to give perspective, there was a 3rd and 1 on the 3rd drive, and we're always talking about setting the edge. You had a 3rd and 1 and a quarterback sneak up the middle, went for 25 fucking yards.
Yeah.
Think about that. Nobody was on that outside. Nobody was containing. Nobody was there. It was slow ass. Dak's not too slow, but he's not the fleetest of foot. No. But he got 25 yards downfield before somebody touched him. Just think about that.
You heard about Daryl Johnston said it live on air. He's like, I'm not sure I've seen that before. Seen it in college. It's extremely rare to see that in the NFL. And again, I know there's people upset with me for my take on Roquan Smith, but if you have access to the all 22 to the coaches tape, I've told you guys over and over, just go watch his run fits. He's guessing, and when he's not guessing, rarely he'll be there and he'll make a play. Roquan's run fits are awful. I don't know what other way. It's exactly why they haven't bent over backwards to give him exactly what he wants for a contract, Ivan. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, 3 tackles in a game like this today where you need a guy like Roquan Smith talent-wise. I mean, other than Micah Parsons and Lawrence, is there anybody else on the field, entire football field, that's got more God-given talent than Roquan? He's right there, but he's not using it to the best of his abilities, and he's guessing a lot, and it's showing out. And there's these up and down games. He made 2 plays last week, praised him for it. You can't follow it up with a stinker like this today.
No, you can't. And like I said, I don't want to keep talking about the money because it shouldn't be there. For me, Shane, I'm going to tag your ass, and we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, you're talking about 17. It's 17. It's a 17.833 or something like that. I think the tag number is. I totally agree. And I don't give a shit if you're upset with that and you want to do your hold in. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Do your hold in. Do your hold in again. Everybody was saying that Robert Quinn was gonna hold out because he wanted to demand a trade. He showed up.
Yep.
He showed up, and look what it got him. Now he's playing for a 7-0 Philadelphia Eagles team. But again, I don't even want to focus this on Roquan. I think it's more important to look at the positives that we started to see offensively today. And let's not pretend like they didn't just face 2 really good defenses and continue to run the football, continue to churn out, 200 plus yards. And, they're scoring points. So I think that is something, as a Chicago Bears fan, as an analyst, somebody that can break this down, it's super important, Ivan, because we don't see that very often. And I just don't. People want to praise Roquan Smith, but you don't want to praise this kid you have at quarterback that's getting the shit kicked out of him on a down in and down out basis, but he's still making plays. I don't get it.
I don't understand it either. I don't get the hate. Like I just really don't. It's unnecessary. Justin Fields goes in there every single game and he makes you believe. Like just his sheer will in some of these plays. Like he's getting blitzed, he's getting touched when he shouldn't be getting touched. He has no time back there, and I know they were moving the pocket, but you saw the speed of the Dallas defense. They were at certain times, especially in that second half, able to contain Justin Fields, and he wasn't able to go, and do much. I'm just looking forward to seeing what they do with this money come next offseason. It's not a complete product by any means.
Not at all.
Not
on either side of the ball.
But what you saw today with Justin Fields in 2 consecutive games was a guy that can lead this football team, and if given the right personnel, can make something really, really good happen for us here in Chicago. I just don't understand. I don't understand the hate. The guy has done everything you've asked of him, and then put his body on the line. There's no pussy out with Justin Fields. I just don't get. I don't get it.
What would we look like without him? That's what I'd like to ask. What would this team look like on offense without him? You think you're making a conversion on 3rd and 17 last week in New England with your feet with Trevor Siemian? Yes, he may look a little bit more stable in the pocket and getting the ball out a little bit earlier, but that's the thing. You're going to take your bumps along the way, and it's Ryan Poles isn't a dummy, guys. He knows where this needs to be upgraded. And I know people are still going to go back and they want to talk about the no wide receivers drafted in the 2nd round. I mean, to me, Velus Jones is looking like an absolute miss at 71 for what he has showed so far. But again, if draft day was today, even knowing what I know right now, I'm still drafting Brisker and I'm still taking Gordon. Because I think they're better players overall, and they're more integral to this defense moving forward. And you have to go BPA. We don't need to go down that road, but it's just people fall in love with one big play on offense. I mean, we saw it with Velus Jones. Everybody got excited when he had that one long return in Seattle, and then, boom, starts fumbling the football, and none of it really matters. But still waiting for the presser here. Actually, Mike, if you're ready, we do have a patron. Want to bring him out, Ivan? He can hang out with us during the presser.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, bring him out here. Mike, what's up, man?
Oh, man. Tough one.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, one of the best and worst Bears games that I've seen in a while. First, want to say thanks for having me on. Big fan of the show. My buddy last night at this excellent Halloween party that he threw, he knew I was coming on the show, and he asked me what my thesis would be. And win or lose, my thesis was going to be the difference between 4-4 and 3-5 is huge. I know it would have taken a Herculean effort to go into Dallas and steal this one, but as a fan, as a consumer, I want to see wins. You guys, you talk about it on the show all the time. Phil specifically, no politics. We don't want to see the GM's guy out there. We want to see the best guys on the field every week. No tanking. Winning begets winning. And that's what this man's trying to build right now. So,
obviously,
I want to see him win.
And on defense, obviously the first, 4 drives resulted in touchdowns. So we, obviously got to do a better job getting
obviously.
The field,
yeah, thanks for those breaking news on that one.
To
2 of
make
those
that
were
happen.
over 75 yards.
Didn't create enough 3rd down situations for ourselves and 3rd and longer to really get off the field there. So we got to do a better job with that. And our offense, I think, performed pretty well, the entire day. They had a couple couple 3 and outs, but for the most part, drove the ball, did a nice job in situations. Obviously we cut that lead, down to 11 points, with the Eddie interception at the very end to kick the field goal, so that was really good. And we told the guys at halftime, this is a game. This is a game, and it's 11 points, and we can certainly dig ourselves out of this. And the guys did a nice job. We traded punts to start the second half, and then going into our offense drove the ball down there to make it a game. And then, then we had that sequence that was like 5 minutes or so to go in the third quarter, where it was, they got us to jump off sides, had the big chunk play, had a couple of nice plays, and they scored on us in the third quarter. And then the very next series on offense, they got the fumble for a touchdown. And we got to do a better job touching them down there in that situation. And then from there, we were just battling to stay in it. So it was again, the guys always had their eyes forward. I thought on offense, a lot of good positive things. I think that was the best passer rating that Justin's had at 120. Really did a nice job. He was 17 at 23, had 2 touchdowns. Rushing offense is still doing a really good job, which it has all year. The 4th time we've had 230 yards this season, the 3rd straight game of 200 yards rushing. Herbert was at 6.2. Justin was at 7.5. He's using his legs really good. So, and to me, it was just a matter of us, having our opportunity to really, in the third quarter there, to come back, to make that run, to make it a game in the third quarter. It was unfortunate that we had those turn of events in about 5 minutes to go in that third quarter. So we'll open up to questions from there.
You mentioned the fumble return touchdown. How do you coach Justin immediately after that, and knowing the details that you stress, how disappointing?
Yeah, just touch him down.
Touch him
multiple times.
Yeah.
Put a hand on his back.
Situations tape that we show every Friday, that you got to touch guys down, and it's whoever right there in the scrum. When you see that, you got to touch them down. We know that that's part of pro football, and we just got to do a better job there.
Looking back, how big of a swing was that stretch right there?
It was big. Yeah, it was big.
Did you not watch the fucking game, Dan?
We get the 2-point conversion. We can make it to a 5-point game.
Such a wasted question. How
defense?
How else do you answer that?
Get a big chunk down the middle. First down on a couple boots and a toss. And then we didn't do a very good job, really all day on run defense. We didn't do a good job of staying in our gaps, playing our responsibilities. And I told the players after the game, guys, we're going to look at the tape. We're going to see it. You're going to see it. There's no mystery here. It's about good fundamentals, technique, and you got to do that down in and down out to play good defense.
And play like, does the sideline play any kind of role in that, as far as knowing that he's not down and letting
Yeah, I just said that on the radio. Hey, we could have done a good job maybe on the sideline. Hey, touch him down, but it's during the game. Certainly we could have done a better job.
On the 2-point conversion, Lawrence comes untouched. Is it a read option? Should you hand it off?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Should be a handoff. It should be a give, and he read it the other way, and then just got to throw it then at that point.
A hit like that. Does your heart skip a beat a little bit?
Whenever your quarterback takes a hit like that, D-Law is a powerful guy. I was with him when he was here, and certainly, you want to make sure that your guy's not in harm's way, but we just got to make a good decision there.
Without seeing the video, you guys had that 3rd and short opportunity to get off the field, and then Pollard breaks it for the 54-yard touchdown. There, any idea of how that got out the gates for as much?
So we had a pressure on there for that particular one, and the guys that are away from the pressure got to hammer the ball, so they got to hammer it back to the pressure, and the ball kept getting outside. And I think it might have been, I don't know who exactly what numbers, but it was at least 2 guys that let it.
And that's been a season-long thing, man.
And that's just keeping
especially with 55,
that thing's designed
over and over and over again.
And
I don't know what to do with 55. I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't start him next game.
He did a nice job bouncing it.
Defensively, Matt, do you look at this and see issues with discipline and preparation, or do you see issues where this roster just talent-wise isn't ready to compete with good offense?
Yeah, we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go back
both.
to the tape. It's going to be fundamentals. It's going to be the coach and the players. We have to be able to execute better together as a group in these instances. We're going to play teams that have good rosters, and that's part of football. And if you want to be good, guess what? You got to play and compete against those guys. So we just got to execute better.
How do you look at it realistically, as far as you guys just had a tear down, especially defensively? You sent a lot of people out in the offseason. This roster might not be ready to compete with those rosters.
I don't believe that. I believe that it comes down to guys doing their job, coaches getting them to do it the right way together. and us playing the way we're supposed to play. That's what I believe.
Your mindset at the end of the game, you obviously were taking some timeouts trying to get the ball back, and you got the ball back and went.
I knew Dan was going to ask this fucking question because he was butthurt on Twitter about it.
In there to get some work, and we wanted to get Trevor some work, and that was really the gist of it. I know that it was
100% the right call.
What was he expecting? What were you expecting, Dan? A 21-point turnaround.
Dan would have wrote. Dan would have had a front page column on the front of the Tribune if he put him in there in a 21-point game and tore his knee up. Why he was in there in garbage time.
To the trade of Quinn to this result, what can a young team learn from all this?
Just to look at every performance as it stands alone by itself. So when you ride the wave, of momentum like this, it can be a tricky thing, for a young football team. So you have to look at every performance for what it is, So last Monday was a performance for what it is, and then your preparation's got to be the same. It's got to be the same. And I'll tell you this, I thought we had a good week of practice leading into this. And I told the players that last night.
I don't want to hear that shit.
And
nobody wants to.
But
you had a good week of practice, and your defense wasn't on the field for 4 consecutive drives.
They did a nice job game planning and executing all that. But just one performance at a time.
4 consecutive drives. They couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't do anything. It was easy work for the Dallas Cowboys.
I had a good practice this week.
Positive, it's a positive thing for the guys. I think that the guys are starting to really gel. You can see that now we've implemented some things, that are really enhancing the skill levels of our players. I think it's starting to open up some things.
How do you not ask one question about one of your leaders on defense and Roquan Smith for the showing today?
Start fast. Do you have a sense for why it's not sticking for whatever?
Yeah, it comes down to execution. You're going to look at the tape, and we're just going to have to do a better job. You got to come out, execute on first and second down, get your third down favorables, and then execute on third down. That's what it comes down to. That's just basic ball. It's going to be that way for a long time, so we just got to do a better job.
Matt, the Fowler sack that set up the down and distance that led to the Montgomery fumble. I know you haven't seen the film or whatever. Was that just it seemed like he came fairly clean. Was that just a miscommunication, or they just,
Yeah, I'm going to have to look at that play. So to see the details of that.
At the last offensive play of the first half, you guys went with a shovel pass. Can you talk us through just kind of the thought process?
Yeah, Ryan's got a good one.
A shot into the end zone there.
Yes, we like that play. We like to play. We know they're going to be softer there, and we wanted to work on that shovel, and that was going to be a good.
You wanted 3, and that's a chance of a turnover.
For whatever reason, I got to look at the play, but we like that play.
Do you think Justin's taken a step forward in how he uses his legs, not just obviously with the design runs and things like that, but the way he's more deliberate in his running? Can you see that progression?
Yeah, I do. He's good. And he's got good instincts that way. So he knows situational football. When he has to get the prescribed down and distance, but I think he's growing that way for sure.
Your offense is more complete now than it was a couple weeks ago, and if so, how much further does it need to go to be where you want it?
I just think it's growing. It's growing.
Long fucking ways, Pat. Jesus
and we can
Christ.
See that, in practice.
Go get on the plane and go back home.
And we can certainly see that in the last couple games.
They're fucking dumb.
And the guys are going to look at the tape. They got things to work on too on offense. In kicking game, we got to work on things, and we got to work on stuff on defense. So it's get back to work.
And as someone with defensive expertise in your career and very high standards, how do you process this game, giving up 49 points?
Yeah, it's just it's whatever it is, 42 points, because of the return. But that's unacceptable. So we're gonna have to look at ourselves with a critical eye and make sure that we're doing the right things. Down in and down out. And then practicing those things during the week and to get better. But it's not good enough.
How do you address it with the players how do you address it with your players when I imagine you'll just be making red X's on every single play?
Yeah, you just got to look at every play for one play at a time and look at it, and then say, okay, hey, this was good. This was the breakdown. This is how we improve. That's it. That's what you got to do.
As an extension of that, what's most bothersome to you about the defensive performance today as you leave here?
I would just say being able to get them in third and longers. So the first and second down defense has got to be better to get us into the third down situations that we like.
You gave up fucking 3rd and 16 to the tight end.
3rd and 1, 25 yards to the quarterback. So like we were talking before.
Some of these questions are just, there's literally one answer and everybody knows what it is. with most of these questions that they're asking. I don't understand. How did that make you feel? Your defense falling flat on their face. What is he? Of course, he's going to be pissed. He's just not that dude that's going to come out and say Roquan Smith sucked today. The defensive line needs to step up. Dominique Robinson looks lost in the fucking run game. That shit drives me crazy.
It's just the discipline. Where was the discipline all game long? Coming from last game, they did a good job against the run against Rodemeyer. Is that Rodemeyer Stevenson? Is that how you pronounce the first name for the Patriots? Stevenson, the running back.
Ramondre.
Ramondre.
You threw me way the fuck off.
Yeah, I was trying to. No, they did a good job against the Pats last week, and then this week they were just non-existent. No discipline, no contain, no heart. Like that. Like I said, those first 4 drives for the Dallas Cowboys, I thought they were going to score 40 in the first half.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree, Ivan. But Mike, we brought you on here. What were your thoughts on QB1? And do you agree with Ivan and I that we had no problem with them pulling him out at the end of the game?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I had a bigger problem with what started happening around, I think, like 7.5 minutes left. It kind of felt like they lost some juice. And then Daryl Johnston said it on the broadcast. He said it feels like the Bears are just trying to get in some reps here.
Yeah.
And again, I know a lot has to happen to make that comeback with 7.5 minutes left. But I would say I had a bigger problem with that than Trevor Siemian coming in. That was an issue before that. The offense as a whole, I mean, I'm not ready to say that Justin has arrived or that we're here with him, but you got to love what you've seen from him in back-to-back weeks now. Kid needs help. He needs help, man. After the VJJ drop in the first half, Fox cut to the Eagles-Steelers game, and they were showing A.J. Brown catching his 3rd touchdown of the day. Yeah. And I couldn't help but think, man, if we just had one dog on our team as far as receivers go, would maybe one of them have come down with those balls in the end zone before the end of the first half. So instead of us settling for a field goal, maybe we get one of those touchdowns off the Eddie Jackson pick. He needs help, man, but Justin is good. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the rest of the season, see how he continues to play.
Yeah, when I was talking about him, I mean, I'm not saying that he has fully arrived, but I mean, at this point, that if there was any lingering doubt at quarterback moving forward with where this team was going to be draft-wise, I just was hoping that they were going to stay out of that. Oh, this is going to be Ryan Poles' guy. Justin took one on the chin this year. And I'm full steam ahead with developing Justin moving forward, bringing in more weapons to surround him with, and they certainly have enough money to go out there and make moves. And it's not a real great free agent crop coming in that way, but it's going to take a lot of work on Ryan Poles' part, because it's going to have to be creative trades where he can move some parts and get some pieces back, and being creative in the draft also. But again, I guess I would ask the haters about Brisker and Gordon, how much they love George Pickens today. You mentioned the Steelers and Eagles game, and 0 yards is always pretty sweet, right? So let's do a fucking hard stop on that. People are so fickle and ride the fucking wave of emotion. Justin Fields gets throws an incomplete pass, and I get a fucking DM instantly saying, this motherfucker needs to be a wide receiver. And I'm like,
fucking cut him.
Yeah. So it's nauseating. It's not even fucking funny. It's just dumb. I don't even know how else to phrase it. But no, I mean, if there is a loss, a gut-wrenching loss, I wasn't expecting this type of effort defensively. And we know that they're, lacking talent on both sides of the ball. But I do think this is one of those wins, and I'm not going to call it a moral victory, because it certainly is not. And we don't believe in those here.
We can say that. Phil's not on.
No, I'm
Phil's
not
on
saying
right
it.
now.
I'm not saying it because I don't believe in it either.
I don't like it. So
yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, I think that there's a lot of positives. I am a believer in momentum, and I think that they can build on this moving forward and keep some of the momentum offensively. They gotta. I mean, I'm at the point where I want to see Leatherwood out there over Riley Reef, and I think that's Flus hasn't been a guy that's going to take a guy off the NFI list and just throw him out there to the Wolves. We've heard him talk numerous times about getting them acclimated and getting them some burn and bringing them back slowly and ready to go. But it's going to be interesting because I'm not so sure I need to see a 13-year vet out there that's often injured. I want to see some cohesion moving forward, and we all know the thoughts on Sam Mustipher here. Lucas Patrick is out, but you saw Dieter go out there and get some burn. It's going to be interesting in the limited reps that he got just to see how he held up, not in the position that he's been practicing at because he's been at center, but I think that there's definitely some sunlight in this game that we can take moving forward.
I do have a question for you guys. Do you think that Justin Fields is one of those guys? You talk about like Aaron Rodgers for the Packers. He kind of elevates the rest of their roster. He makes that team better and can cover up a lot of their deficiencies. I'm not saying Justin is that dude yet, but I have to think that like them going into Dallas against this great defense, putting up 29 points, I don't think you do that with Trevor Siemian, right? I think Justin was responsible for a lot of that.
How many wins do you think you have on the year without Justin Fields?
None, maybe.
So that
might be 0-8.
Yeah, that says a lot to me. You know what I mean about a guy, and I just listen. I'm not gonna give out false praise and say I had a guy reach out to me on Twitter and say that it's not fair that I'm trying to hold Roquan accountable because he's like, I've seen Aaron Donald play and have bad games. It's not a apples to apples comparison there at all.
Not at all.
I've seen Aaron Donald be defensive player of the year. Roquan's never made a Pro Bowl. And then you can say, well, he got screwed. Well, I don't know. I've seen guys ahead of him that are pretty fucking great.
You wouldn't be the number 2 rushing attack without Justin Fields. He's number 2. He's their second leading
100%.
rusher. He's our second leading rusher behind Khalil Herbert right now. To me, he's the guy that could just make, chicken salad out of chicken shit. And you see it time and time again. How many times has he been, in the grasp of a D lineman and is able to spin out? We've seen it like 3 or 4 times just today. So I'm, like you said, he's not there yet. I think once you add quality playmakers around him, then you're going to see him elevate his own game. But as of right now, he does elevate this team. This team would be god awful to watch if it wasn't for Justin Fields at least giving us some excitement week in and week out.
Yeah, Chubbs, I understand that is your stance, and I've never heard you say one negative thing about Roquan Smith on Twitter or after a game because you're Mr. Positivity, and that's fine. I'm not like that. I'm going to hold the guy accountable when he plays like shit. When you're wanting $20 million and you're in the fucking backfield to make a play and you whiff on a backup running back that then takes it for 50 yards and a touchdown, I'm going to call you out for it. That has nothing to do with the defensive line. That has to be with Roquan Smith not doing his job. And if you go out and watch him on tape on his run fits, it's abysmal. I'm not making it up. Go ask anybody that watches tape. It's abysmal. Roquan makes occasional plays. His consistency is not there. It's just not. A lot of the times he's lost.
Thought process.
That's my fault for just hopping over him. I should have.
All right,
ownership.
there you go.
I can't tell you the last time I made a tackle, so just got to be aware in that situation. Just tag him and make sure he's down.
How much does that bother you going to swing that entire sequence was. For the
What do you
game.
want him to
Sorry?
fucking say,
Does
you
that bother you, just knowing
morons?
how
How's
big
that bother you?
sequence was
I'm
for
stoked
that-
about it.
I mean, you're always gonna have ups and downs in the game.
Jesus.
You
Guys
can't look
are
at
so
one. You just gotta
dumb.
keep fighting, keep
He
battling.
answered the question already right off the bat. That should have been it. It was my fault. It's over.
To not try and be a hero or anything like that?
No.
He fucked up. That's all. He admitted it. Just let it go.
Was that a read option that just should have gone up the middle, or what was
Which one? We went for twice, 2 times.
the one where Morris hit you?
Yeah. So cover 0. We didn't expect them to in and out that concept to the left. So that was my answer for cover 0 to the left, and they in and out of it. Didn't expect them to do that, but knowing that they're running cover 0, just got to throw the ball away at the back of the end zone.
Where do you think the progress is being made in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're growing, getting better each and every week as an offense. Just proud of the guys, the way they fought. We were down early, but, they didn't waver. We kept the same mentality and just chipped away. And I thought as a whole, we played well. So, yeah.
Did you want one more shot at the end zone right before halftime?
I mean, I'm just playing each play. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I just play each play out.
Shovel pass on the last play before you guys kicked the field.
I mean, I think it was a good play. We just got to, have better blocking up front.
It felt like Luke was pretty deliberate in trying to get the
Seems like they're more intent on getting like Eberflus to say something that he shouldn't say, or getting Justin to go against.
I mean, yeah, if you want
They
to
want the big headline. They want the headline,
be a
Typical
threat to stretch the defense vertically.
Chicago
So
media.
you have to take those
Typical
shots
media.
downfield, so they're not all up in your grill. So
It's almost like they're incentivized
successful offense,
for sensationalism.
in the league.
It's almost like
We're
that.
gonna attack vertically. So of course we're going to keep doing that for sure.
How do you balance the progress that you and the offense are making with the fact that you didn't get a win and setback for you guys here?
I think just look at the positive things. Of course, watch the film and see where we need to grow and keep getting better. But I think the offense today, played well, and of course, there's always room to grow, get better. But as a whole, we put up 29 points. I think that was the most points they let up this year. So I mean, just keep working and keep getting better each and every day at practice.
And a lot of those points. I mean, most of those points were not in garbage time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit beat up.
Those are
my
legit
legs
points
were
being scored.
kind of sore, but I couldn't run like 100% today. But hopefully this full week will get me back right, and I'll be able to go 100%.
What happened that sent you to the 10? Was it on the second?
Yeah, that was just a re-injury from last week. It was just like a contusion on my hip. So when I got sacked, I fell on my hip, and then kind of just re-bothered it. So I just took some Advil and just hopped back in the game. But yeah, like I said, just little bumps and bruises and stuff.
Do you feel yourself growing as a runner? Like, do you feel like you're more deliberate in the kinds of runs that you're doing?
She just asked the coach the same
Yeah, for
fucking
sure.
question.
Like I said last week, it just brings our offense a whole different element. So definitely feel like I'm growing as a runner and a passer for sure.
What feels better to you individually while you're out there the last couple of weeks, the last maybe 3 or 4 games? Does something feel like it's clearing up or becoming slower or easier for you?
I think I'm just getting more comfortable with the offense. I think our guys are too as a whole. I think we're growing, and it's week 9 coming up. So I think everybody's getting more and more comfortable as we game plan and put plays together. Luke and our offensive coach has done a great job figuring out what we do good as an offense, what each player does individually well. So we're figuring that out, and I think that's credit to our success for sure.
Something specific that you're doing better?
I mean, just I'm just growing for real. I can't put my one thing on it, but just growing and getting better each and every week.
How did that kind of come together?
Yeah, I think they had 10 guys on the field on that play, but I mean, they had it looked like a cover 0 shell, so I just checked the protection and kept the same route concepts up, and of course, we had great protection. Nikhil ran a great route, and just put it on them and scored a touchdown. So yeah.
Just can you talk us through the touchdown to Cole also?
Yeah, so just play action. I think he bluffs the corner a little bit and then just runs to the corner. So corner slipped. Cole, executed that play well. Great protection up front, and it's just all around well executed play.
Of this offense, if you could hit some of those deep shots a little more consistently.
Just more explosive, and of course more explosive. Help the offense.
Receivers catching the ball, maybe
Hits that you're taking.
could help.
Is there ever a concern that they're piling up to a point that you're going to have to?
The only hit that I was mad that I took today was the first run. I think I should have just ran out of bounds initially. But, yeah, I mean, football is football. You're going to get hit. So just try to limit him for sure.
Justin, as a team coming off the high of Monday, then the trade of Quinn, and then the result today, how do you guys move past, kind of a difficult and emotional weekend, try to bounce back next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's what the league is, when you're, as close as everyone was on the team to, Robert, of course, it's going to be a little bit emotional, but, we still have business to take care of. And, I think the guys responded well. I think we had a great week of practice. And, I think you just got to give credit to their offense. They played a great game, and, our defense didn't play as well as we wanted to. So, I know they're going to get back to work this upcoming
honesty
weekend,
right there.
Put out a better performance next week for sure.
I don't like the question about – look, I get they having a connection with Robert, but
it's a big one that people keep on saying and trying to harp on, that this is why the defense was flat. And all I'm going to say is what he just said right there. When Roquan is trying to get his bag, or when Justin comes up, to be paid, what do players say? Go get your money, kid. It's a business. It's no different. Robert Quinn wanted to be traded. He handled it a different way than Roquan Smith did. He shut his mouth. He showed up. He worked. He got traded to a contender. 7-0 Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
And what else did he get? He got the final 2 years of his contract chopped off now. Why? Because he can get guaranteed paper in the offseason. That's what it's all about. So I understand there's emotions involved, but my God, if you're that downtrodden from a player being traded, then I question these
have a leader
guys moving forward.
Yeah, do you have a leader out there? If Rob, and I know Rob was a leader, but if he was the end all be all of the defense, like, we have bigger issues. And I don't think that's the case. I just maybe a little emotionally, but that doesn't give you an excuse to come out the way you did. The defense was non-existent in 4 drives. And like I said, that was pretty much the game. I mean, they came back, but I thought that was the game. I was like, there's no way they could get through this or dig themselves out. They could probably get close, but to 28 points down, this is the NFL. You're not going to see a lot of games with 28-point comebacks are, just
right.
Week in and week out. They're just not there. I don't like it. Rob was a good player. I just don't think that gives them an excuse to have the game that they had on defense.
No, I totally agree. Mike, how do you feel about it?
I mean, let's talk about the players that are on the roster. Let's talk about Quan. Let's talk about Jalen Johnson. Let's talk about Eddie Jackson. Great pick for sure. Named team captain, I believe, now in place of Robert Quinn. Where were those guys? Those are supposed to be your quote unquote blue chip defensive dogs as the young DBs kind of build themselves up. And I mean, they put up 49 points. I hope they treat this like a 50 burger. That was a 50 burger. Come on. Step up, make a play, do something.
Looks like we lost Shane here for a second. I agree, Mike. You're expecting to play Eddie Jackson like we had talked about before. Eddie Jackson looked like Eddie Jackson. He's been playing great this year. He's having an all-pro year, as somebody had mentioned in the chat. We need a lot more of those. Like, we're getting interceptions, but I think we need a lot more turnovers. I still need them to start, ripping this ball out of some of these running backs' hands. Talk about that run game, though. The run defense. Tony Pollard, I got to look at the stats. He was just electric today. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was 9.4 average. Talk about the run defense. What do you think that needs to be done? I mean, I'm expecting it to get worse before it gets better. But what do you think?
Well, I'm sure Phil will talk about this this week on the tape breakdown. And to all those viewers at home, you should become a Patreon member for TTNL. Get the full tape breakdown. It's the best. And I'm sure he'll say that it's when someone goes off on you like that, it's not necessarily a lack of talent. It's probably poor run fit, lack of fundamentals. guys trying to do too much. I think they talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that the run defense guys are just not staying in their lanes and they're not finishing the play. So I think that's much more of like a technique and coaching thing than us not necessarily having the talent to stop a guy from, what did you say, 9.4 per carry?
9.4 per carry for Tony Pollard today. So yeah, 14 carries, 131, 3 touchdowns, 9.4 per touch.
Yeah, I want to see what Phil has to say on the tape this week, because you can do better than 9.4 per carry, man. Come on.
Yeah. 100%, man. It's unacceptable, defensive performance. It really is. And we know the warts that are there, the defensive line. That's why we've tried to preach going forward. If there's a 3-tech there when the Bears draft in the first round and he's head and shoulders above an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, they're going to take the 3-tech.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I agree. It's a glaring issue, Shane. And we talked about contain, but just as we talk about contain, just the runs up the middle, the pressure, the generation of pressure up the middle, especially against the run, is just not there. These guys are going sideways and getting pushed out of the way, like you were saying, undersized and overpowered there for Ryan 2-3-3. It's exactly what it is. You need more talent up front on both sides of the football. I know that offensive line, they talk about finding the best 5. I think the best 5 will be found come next year, because I don't think this is going to be it's going to be a solidified offensive line whatsoever. I think you're going to continue to see rotations.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And Riley Reef, like I said, a 13-year vet on this offensive line. I think he's just buying time until Leatherwood gets some more, time on the practice field, and then is getting his body right, because I myself think he's a right tackle. I'm not sure about him at guard, because he struggles with his hand usage, and everything inside is twice as fast. So we'll see how that goes. But week 8 heading into week 9, guys, you want to start to see a little bit of a plan for this offensive line. And that's, to me, what sucks about, if you go back to last week with Lucas Patrick going out, because this is seemingly the second time or even third time, depending on what way you want to look at it, that they have replaced Sam Mustipher, where they've looked and said that we have to upgrade here. But yet he's out there. And at this point, and I know everybody's going to start banging the drum for Dieter again, unless there's an injury, he's going to be the starting center of the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
And I guess that part of it, you're just going to have to, swallow hard and deal with it. But guys on the outside, I think it's critical to get Leatherwood some meaningful reps and to build some cohesion with Tevin Jenkins. Now, when Tevin went out, did they say what that was?
It looked like, I think it was an ankle. I'm not sure. I thought it was an ankle. I'm not sure. I didn't see anybody's update, but he was bouncing on that right leg a little when he was coming off the field. So I think it was like 3 plays or something like that.
Yeah, I was scared it was a concussion thing, because I think they came to the line and then there was a stoppage of play and then he came off. So I don't know if that was like the concussion spotter or something, or maybe you saw something that I missed. But he is hands down your best offensive lineman right now.
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah.
And they tried their best to alienate that kid before the season. And
I'm not buying. I'm gonna push back on that, Mike.
Okay.
I know Phil hates this, but there's zero track record saying that they were ganging up on this kid. When you go back to Oklahoma State, you literally have his head coach coming out and saying that motivation, buying in, was a problem for Tevin Jenkins, until he told him, "Hey, there's a kid in here that can make $40 million. You want to know who it is? It's you." Then he started to take it serious. And if you're not bought in, especially on that line, and I understand, you can't tell me that they just came in and said, "You know what, we're just going to gang up on this kid. Our offensive line sucks. 39th pick in the draft.
Well, he admitted he came in overweight. He didn't do exactly
Absolutely.
what they asked him. So he admitted as much.
Yeah.
But and I'm not knocking, like, I don't, whatever was said, he's proven that he's not, some lazy player who's going to go ahead and just milk you for your money. He's running down the field every play. He's pushing people out of
the best that they have by far.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
No doubt. So I agree with Shane, though. I think there's some truth to what was going on. There's two sides of the story, and I think Tevin, admitted as much. Like, hey, I didn't do what they asked me to do.
Yeah, hi. Just let me address this, because there's a lot of idiots like this guy in the chat. Zero track record. My point is, Tevin had issues. Tevin dropped down the draft boards for two reasons. There's questions about his motivation that his college head coach openly talked about, and there was people that were concerned about his back injury. So yeah, there's a track record with that there. There's zero track record there saying that the Bears brought Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus specifically said, you know what? Our offensive line is in shambles. We're going to gang up on this kid and just push him to the side and trade him because we don't believe in him.
I'll go 50-50 with you guys. I didn't like the way they put him out for that presser.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
I agree.
Yeah. So it was a little 50-50 there, both parties.
Absolutely. And I think Ryan Poles spoke to that and said that he needed to be better. And to Tevin Jenkins' credit, he said the same thing, that he needed to be better. Here's Roquan up here. Ivan.
Oh, good.
Things happen, but all you can do is just grow from it. We all have a job, and at the end of the day, lucky enough to still have my job, so I'm just going from there. But hats off to my guy, Rob. Great deal of respect for him.
Roquan, is it frustrating, though, because you guys had that great Monday night win? It felt like you guys had some momentum, and it might have been a turning point?
Oh, man, it's very frustrating when you think about it, just knowing the guys that we have in the locker room and going out and putting out a performance like that. It's unacceptable. Did a great job today moving the ball, scoring points. Defense, we can never allow anyone to score that many points on us. So it's going to start with us, and it's always going to start with us and always end with us. And so we have to be better, and it's that simple. We can't let no one run the ball, throw the ball, or do whatever like that, or score that many points on us, period.
Is that frustration used as motivation moving forward? The frustration you feel now?
Absolutely.
You're going to believe.
What's up with the mic?
The mics didn't make the trip either, I guess.
Us as a defense and as individuals, we know that was not the standard of what we put out on film, and so we just have to get better, grow from it, and it is what it is.
Roquan, you've been on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to say much. I expected just about that. He's gonna say he had a decent game, but I agree with him. You can't allow that many points. You can't allow a team like that to come out and I get they're at home, but they just flat out punch the Bears square in the mouth.
Yeah, when plays are there to be made, you have to fucking make it. We expect a top 10 off the ball linebacker to make those fucking plays. And I don't think that that's asking too much. I don't want to hear about the defensive line when you're all alone, one-on-one in the fucking backfield, and you can't bring a guy down or even be remotely close to bringing the guy down. And, the same guy popped it for a 50-plus yard touchdown. It's unacceptable.
He was there. Make the play.
Yeah.
Get the bag.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to say it, Mike. Get the bag. And you know what? Getting run over by Tony Pollard, as good as a running back he is, that's unacceptable to me. Getting outrun by him, just getting out muscled, just unacceptable. And you continue to see it. He has great games, and then he has a game like this where it's like, what the hell are you doing, Roquan? Make the play.
That's what we've seen. It's been the peaks and valleys, and like you said, Ivan, the excuse of the Robert Quinn trade. If you went out there and played your worst game of the season because Robert Quinn got traded, then I have a whole bunch of different questions that I'm going to be asking about you in terms of your motivation and your want to. Now, you're only going to play when I have the guys that you want on the team. That's a legitimate question if that's going to be your reaction. It's a bit just like it's a business that you're trying to you did your hold in, Roquan. This is a business with Robert Quinn. You know, do you think Robert Quinn? I don't even know. I haven't looked at snap counts or if they played him today versus Pittsburgh. I haven't looked at that yet. But do you think Robert Quinn was sitting on the sideline saying, "Man, I miss Rowe. I miss Jalen. Oh, get the fuck out of here." No, doesn't work that way. You can be upset. You also have a fucking job to do and go out and do it. And hardly anybody did it today, especially on the defensive side.
It doesn't look like go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, do the Cowboys only score 42 if Robert Quinn is still on the roster? Like,
yeah, I mean, and I get it. Like, the pass rush was non-existent when Robert Quinn was here, you know, to that point. Like, I don't think he makes a huge difference. But I think the lack of intensity and the way that they went out there and played out of position, not committed, you can't have that. Like, that's something that I thought they were going to get away from, especially on the defensive side, because I thought the defensive side was making some strides prior to the offense. But to come out like this, and then you know, you want to ask about Roquan Smith, and I'm talking about the media, like, no, it's not. Robert Quinn, it's like, no, it's not a guy that's not there right now. It's about the guys that were in the locker room. Those guys weren't ready to play today. That's point blank period. We all saw that. So to make an excuse like that, I think it's just you're reaching. You're just reaching right now.
Yeah, and Chubbs, we're not saying that they lacked heart. They just didn't fucking play good. I mean, that's literally what we're saying. I can go out and say I have a fucking problem with if the reason you didn't play good is because Robert Quinn got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, then that's a fucking problem, guys. This isn't little league football. You know, this isn't pee-wee football. It's a fucking billion-dollar business. That's if the reason you didn't play well today is because of a trade that happened on a guy that you've had how many winning seasons with in Chicago? 0, right? I'm sure he's a great guy. I've never met Robert Quinn personally. You know, he was good to TTNL and saying the tape never lies and all that. It's great. But it's like the media wants to make this the reason why the Bears played bad today. And it's not. It's just not. I think the guys probably got in front of their skis a little bit after the big New England win because they're young, and that goes back to coaching. You have to control these guys. It's like what happened after the double doink? Fuck, next step, Super Bowl. That's what Chicago does. Bears 100. You didn't hear shit other than Super Bowl's next. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. They didn't play good football today. Got to have a bounce back next week. All there is to it.
Effort and technique.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, real quick before we get you out of here, because we're gonna probably end up wrapping up here pretty quick. How did you? What is your TTNL journey? How did you find out about us, and what brought you here?
I appreciate you asking. My YouTube suggested videos showed me Phil's breakdowns. I think in the 18 season.
Yeah,
that's when I first started watching them, and my buddy last night told me specifically, don't kiss their ass. Don't go on the show and kiss their ass, but you guys are great. You're the best. Yeah. So I've been watching for about 4 years now. Felt it was time to pay it forward on Patreon. Everyone at home should do the same because you guys really are doing two things, in my opinion, with this grassroots operation of yours. From a sports journalism standpoint, you guys are asking the questions that for some reason our hometown media will not ask. And you're also bringing a football acumen and an understanding of the game that is beneficial to someone like me, who's a huge fan of NFL football, but I've never padded up, you know, I've never played a snap of organized football before. So I want to be able to, I want to be able to enjoy the game, speak about it intelligently, and really kind of understand what's happening in a week in and week out basis with the Bears, man. And yeah, you guys are doing it better than anyone. I really can't listen or read any of the local writers here, man. It's except no substitute, TTNL. You guys are the
man,
truth.
We appreciate it. I do have to ask you a question. Who the fuck is your friend saying, don't come on here and kiss our ass? Who the fuck is that guy?
My guy Connor, man. He's
is he a Bears fan?
He's a huge Bears fan. He was just trying to coach me up, He's got a tough exterior, but he's a softie on the inside.
Yeah. Is he a TTNL fan?
He is actually. He kind of found you guys on his own too.
Nice.
And then I told him that I was going to be coming on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been watching Bears Hour Live. They have some interesting Patreon characters go on that show sometimes, so don't blow it." I said, "All right, man, I got you."
Come on, Connor, step up your game. Be a pussy. Connor.
He's gonna love that.
Actually, we have live video of Connor right now.
Well,
No, we don't.
in case you don't know my name, my mama named me Rufus.
I'm just kidding, Connor. Busting your balls, boy. But Mike, yeah, no, I know you reached out to me last week. Things get a little bit crazy, so we always tell people, that are reaching out, don't do it too far in advance because sometimes it's a little bit hard. We get TTNL, as Ivan can attest, gets a little bit crazy, especially on game day.
Yeah.
But no, I sent you the link last night, and you responded. You stepped up, man. Sometimes we have people on and they're not ready to go.
Is that him? Is that
That's
Connor?
him,
Connor?
That handsome SOB. There he is.
All right, hit me up, Connor. We'll get you on here next, man. See if you can perform in the bright lights of TTNL, and then you and Mike can go at it and talk some shit. But no, that's great. No, that's the Jackal, Chris Jackal. Tell a friend. What's his motto? I forget exactly what it is. He's probably.
I just got one more question for you guys.
Yeah,
when
go
are we
ahead.
going to see the TTNL biopic, the origin story? Is that in development? What's going on there?
I'll tell you this much, and I know we probably have some people that don't know this, but I feel like Phil and I could write one hell of a fucking book with everything that we've experienced together since 2015, and doing this type of format, where we've come from and what we've been told and where we've had, where we're heading. So I think it would actually be pretty interesting. I know the first 27 chapters would probably be about Phil. Maybe I'd get a chapter and a half in there at some point. But no, man, we're always grinding out content, looking at different ways. I have a couple ideas up my sleeves for a couple more patron shows that I would like to develop and kick off the ground that would kind of take people, patrons especially, kind of like behind the scenes a little bit and let them experience some stuff. But it's I think a lot of people where we get in trouble, and I've had this talk with people, I think people, and Phil and I are always out there, and Ivan and Alan Bratcher and Claudio and Jackal and Cherie and Cool Kennedy, we're always available to people. And I think in Phil's case, in my case especially, Car's keys, he's going to kill me for not bringing them up. I think people see us so much, they think that this is what we do 24/7, 365.
No.
And it is not. Phil and I and Jackal and Ivan, we have young families. Cool Kennedy, we all have very young families, and everybody's heard the story about my son. Ivan's been through a shitload of stuff that people don't even realize, and Phil's had his stuff. But we all have full-time jobs during the day and grinding out this content, and it's a lot, but it's something that we love. So that's what makes it easy. Our wives may not love all of it, but we ain't going anywhere.
It comes through, man. You guys are the truth. Like when it comes to Bears coverage, breakdown, analysis, except no substitute, TTNL all day.
Dig it.
Appreciate you, Mike.
And can we get a fuck Connor before you leave?
Yo, Connor. Fuck you, man.
There you go. We'll get him on here. Connor, you're up next, bud. But Mike,
he's a good dude.
Thanks
guys,
up, bro. That was
appreciate you.
All right, man. Take care. That was good stuff, man.
Yeah,
you like
from Mike.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got him on a little bit earlier. I told him when he came on that we would try to hit him up after the presser, but the Bears in true Bears fashion were a little bit slow getting their stuff out there. So I'm glad we got the chance with Phil not being here. Ivan, I know we went in a little bit different direction and no rant today, but I do think it's important because I think you can continually fall into the same old bullshit of pissing and moaning and complaining about absolutely everything, and you're overlooking the little bright light that's sitting down in the sand. Be like, what is that? There is positives that came out of today. You got your ass kicked on the field. I understand it. There's still big picture positives with this team, especially offensively moving forward. And to me, it 100% starts with QB1, Justin Fields. I like his trajectory. Is there still questionable plays there? 100%. But I also think when you want your quarterback to rise the tide, and bring the other ships up with him, I think he's going to do that, and I think he's going to do it much quicker when they focus on some talent to surround him with, and that's going to be priority number one this offseason with the 125 plus million in free agency. They're going to be active in the trade market, a full slot of draft picks and a ton of money. So I think it's a big positive moving forward.
I think identity solidified, the running game, and then Justin Fields can just create a play on his own, whether it be with his legs or with his arm. And obviously, like to your, like you said, once the talent's there, we'll see that take another step. I just hope that next week, we got the Miami Dolphins come next week. There's going to be some playmakers out on the football field again, Shane, like there was today with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have probably the fastest guy on the football field, Tyreek Hill, and you're going to see a Jalen Waddle, and those guys are electrifying. Are you going to come out flat and spot the Miami Dolphins 21 points to start the game? I think there needs to be a point come this week in practice. I don't give a shit how good of the practice you had. There needs to be a point of you got to start the game, all systems go. You got to go 100%. Like it's. I'm not saying play like it's a fourth quarter, but you cannot have these brain fart plays where you're crashing down when you should be containing, where you're out of place in coverage. That shit can't happen again, or Miami's going to do the same thing that Dallas did to you at home.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And just looking for that one comment I should have started. I think it was Angela talking about what Jalen Hurts has, and this is what we broke down on Carr's Keys. I know Hogan Johns talked about it also. Is there is a blueprint to this. Jalen Hurts is in year 3. Justin Fields is in year 2. But if you really break it down to its core, this is Justin Fields. Year 1 is comparable to the year 1 for Jalen Hurts, where everything was stripped down. Robert Mays from The Athletic talked about it. They put Jalen Hurts in there. They adjusted their offense. They really became a run-heavy team. Does that sound like anybody that we know? Because they had a lack of talent offensively. So the Bears weren't going to – unfortunately, they didn't have the slew of draft picks. They didn't have a ton of cap space to dip into the market, and I don't think that there was a ton of talent there. But unfortunately, we just have to preach patience yet again. This offseason, we're going into week 9. We're going to be there soon enough, and we're going to see a ton of changes for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And as much as this one sucked to watch, you were excited to up until a point. You know what I'm saying? You were excited up until a point. They were in it until a point. You're going to continue to see these games throughout. And I had mentioned, on Keeping It 100, you should be as mentally, you should be like, hey, and I'm not talking about overlooking teams, but you should be building as a team for that murderer's row come December, come the end of the season. Because if you could go ahead and play Grinch and you're one of the toughest football teams to get out, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not winning, but you're scrappy and you're able to put up points and able to stay with teams on offense and defense. That should be the goal. Surprise some people. late in the season. I think the Bears can be the second half team. It might just not all come with wins.
We talked about that early, man. That's you want. If you weren't going to win and contend for the playoffs, you wanted to be in a position at the end of the year that the arrow was pointed up, and most importantly, you believed in the dude under center. Well, not under center, taking snaps and shotgun every down in Justin Fields. But no, man, Ivan, I think we're going to end it there. We'll get out of here. Bears drop one in Big D, 49-29. TTNL have it all covered. I know things are going to get a little bit different this week. Like I said, we all have kids and Halloween coming up and trick-or-treating. I got to get with Phil to see exactly what we're going to settle on for a schedule this week with some stuff. But let's not forget one important message that TTNL has always told you about, and that's this right here as we sign off.
There's hope, guys. There's hope.
I hope
if
there's
we got
hope.
the right people. I hope that is hope.
That's going to be the quote, the name of this show, Shane. I hope there's
hope that there's hope.